I'm one that doesn't like pressure pot. I didn't want to get involved with that sort of thing. And all of a sudden, Berea came out with a UV cured resin. So what I did was get the kit and
Pull it back towards you, sir, for a better picture.
I'm trying to show the detail, but the what you do is paint the brass tubes either with fingernail polish or acrylic paints or whatever, and then you put it on the lathe, and you have the resin gel that you put a strip from one end to the other of the brass tube, and then you turn the tube and put another strip on, keep going until you got it all on there, and then you turn it. Well, I'm sorry, you put the strip on and then you turn on the UV light and cure it. So it's hardened immediately, so to speak, a minute with the UV light. And so after you get it all the way around, then you can turn it. And if you find some low spots or something, you just put some more of the gel on and hit it with the UV light again, and then keep on turning until you've got what you want. And so without a pressure pot, without molds, without waiting a long time, all that sort of stuff, what I've done is found a way that I can enjoy resin coatings on pens without all that paraphernalia.
I saw a lady doing a demonstration a while back using the same thing for finials.
Now, Barry Gross was doing this on the woodworking shows that they did all the month of March. And but it's a Berea product, and it's really interesting and fun, and it's not a mess, and you're certainly saving product because you're not turning away very much.
No bubbles?
Nope, no bubbles. The gel fills in as you put row upon row upon row as you build up to the right depth.
And I got Gerald saying, I'm guessing that the resin gel is degassed.
I don't know what that means. You just, it's in the bottle, and you spray from one end to the other of the brass tube, turn on the UV light, pass it back and forth for about 30, 40 seconds, put another strip on, 30, 40 seconds with the light, and keep going around until you've got the depth that you want. And then you just turn it like any other acrylic.
Well, Bob Grinstead asked that we please put a link to that in our chat tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's what they're doing with this, but degassing is done with a vacuum chamber. They may be putting it under vacuum before they pack it.
No, it's just a bottle of gel.
Yeah, but once it's degassed, then it can be put in the bottle and distributed.
Okay, whatever that is, I'm not familiar with that. I'm just saying that it's so much easier than what I was trying to, to what I wanted to do, and did not have a pressure pot or any of that other equipment that, was necessary for this kind of turning. And so I think they turned out really well, but you can do.
They are beautiful. They are beautiful, dude. Oh, and you don't have to worry about putting in the chat because we just had Jeff throw it in the chat for us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
For $27, you get the bottle of gel, you get the UV light, and the glasses to protect your eyes from the UV light. And all you have to do is put the batteries in the light, and you're off and running.
Batteries not included?
Correct.
Be careful with different types of UV resin, because I used to use it quite a bit prior to using regular resin. I made jewelry, and the cheaper UV resins are cheaper for a reason. So be very cautious. They don't set up. And UV resin is just like regular resin. It does have a learning curve on how thick you can apply it. It's I don't know if you guys ever took your ladies to go get their nails done, but they'll put their nails under a UV light, and they'll have like gel polish. It's similar to that. So it doesn't need to be degassed because it's real thick. Yeah. And it doesn't, unless you squirt out of the bottle and make air bubbles, it has no air bubbles in it. So it's very thick viscosity. So there's no need.
even if you would have generated a bubble, what you can do is
Take
when
a
you
needle
start
of it.
turning and you find a little divot or something, just put another drop of that gel on there, put the light on it, and then turn it just like it was, you know, a week or two old. It's really pretty slick, I think.
Yeah,
And if an air
Ray,
bubble, you can also use a pen of a pen, and you could just pop the bubble and it comes right out. Heat will also help it, but you can burn UV resin really easy with a lighter. So it's best just to pop it with a needle or something.
No, didn't have any trouble with bubbles. If one opened up as I was turning, and I couldn't see any of them. And so if there was a little divot, that maybe it was a bubble. I don't know, but anyway,
you know,
let's put another,
masters
another-
don't run
drop
into
in.
those problems, Dick. That's all. Masters just don't have those problems.
I see.
And
Oh,
Ray
thank
asked,
you.
about the same time you were saying, can you fill small voids? Yes, Ray, he just explained it. That's it.
Yeah, you
And,
just
How
put
fast
another,
after you hit it with the light can you turn it? Is it almost instant, or is there a
Yes.
wait time?
if you spend 30 or 40 seconds with the light, you know, just back and forth over that trail of the gel that you put on the brass tube, now it's ready to turn. It's
Oh,
hard.
cool.
And if you
This
go to the
sounds just-
Berea website, they have a video down at the bottom. Go to that, they've got a video of a guy doing it for you.
This
James
sounds
wants to
just
know
like
what-
the, I'm sorry, Eddie. Sounds just like the resin that my dentist used to rebuild my teeth.
I
It's
wouldn't
very
know.
similar.
Hard as a
Mhm.
rock within a couple of minutes. They
Very
light it up
much
with a UV light and away we go.
I tell
Very
you,
much
Doug
so.
Rowe, you can tell Doug Rowe uses that on his nails because they look, man, fantastic all the time. He probably got that tip from Kim.
Yeah,
James wants to know what kind of kits you're using,
the kit.
the pen kits.
Oh, those are either Sierra or Wall Street.
From Barrera?
The Wall Street comes from Woodcraft, and the Sierra, I forgot where I got those from. Maybe from Berea.
Mhm. I think Sierra is a Bria kit. I
I'm sorry?
don't know the other one. I do believe the Sierra kit is a Bria kit, but I'm not sure the make of the other one. But thanks for all that info.
Yeah,
Look great.
Kim just threw in two links on a chat. It says the resin, the product is from Amazon, and the UV light. Oh wow, the UV
And
light's also from Amazon. What's
Yeah,
that?
I can demonstrate really quick if you guys want to see it. I have some UV resin on hand. It's a little old, so I don't know if it'll work, but it'll give you a visual of how this UV resin works with the lamp. If
I'll
you guys
take
want to
that.
see it.
I'll take that.
Sure.
Yeah, ready, set, go. Okay, so this is a hard type. There are a couple different types of UV resin. There's hard and there's soft. The hard type would be best for what we do with it. This particular brand is not the greatest from my experience. It is a little less expensive than the brand that I actually put in the chat, but the brand I put in the chat has never failed me. It's always been really good. And there could be other types that are better. I've just used this brand and the brand that I put in the chat. And I would say between the two, the one I put in the chat is the better one. That's the reason why I have a lot of this one left, because I don't use it as often. This is a UV light. I actually bought it in a nail kit for doing fingernail polish. That's why it's all dirty and stuff, because I
Share,
Get up to
you
the
share
shop.
that with Doug? Is this the one you share with Doug?
Yeah, the one I shipped it to him, and he, hooked himself up. And this one's very powerful. The bottle says 2 to 4 minutes. There are different times for different resins. So don't go by this direction for the resin you purchase. It'll say right on the back how long to hold it under the light. Some of these lights are actually timed at 2 minutes at a time. So I just push the button twice and it stays on for 4 minutes. I just have a medallion here that I turned for some necklace because I used to do a lot of jewelry. I'm just gonna put some beads in there and then, put the light on it so you'll see Be careful when you're doing this though. Don't put your face over it because it does, you can see that it heats up just like regular resin. The light actually activates the exothermic reaction that the resin has, sort of like the A and B of other resins. And it will put off a little bit of a smoke and somewhat of a smell. So make sure you don't hang your face over it. And it's probably best to wear gloves and all that, but you know, just in case. I accidentally poured this all out on here, so I'm just going to, brief demonstration. I'm not trying to make this perfect, so don't judge me. It's really thick. I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can see it on the piece. It's really thick. And it doesn't have air bubbles, and like the gentleman said earlier, unless you like squirt it out and get an air bubble. It's just really thick.
What kind of stand time do we have?
Oh, you can, as long as you don't put the UV light on it, it'll stay sticky. The UV light actually cures it, activates it and cures it. So you can use molds. Like if you have small jewelry molds, which I have somewhere around here. Anyways, you can fill it with the molds, but your molds have to be translucent, or at least, you know, somewhat to where the light can penetrate through it. Otherwise it won't cure. And if you color the resin, the darker you color it, the harder the light can get through to the resin, and it'll actually not cure properly, or it'll just take a longer curing time. So you can color it if you like. You don't have to use it as clear, but translucent colors are probably best. When you buy the kits, a lot of times they'll include, it's not an alcohol ink. I don't know what kind of ink it is, but if it's from China, it smells like fish. So just to warn you, the ink in the kit stink. At least that's with my experience when I've ordered them. And this comes off with denatured alcohol, regular alcohol, actually. So if you get some on your fingers or on something that you don't want it to stick on, just use regular alcohol and it wipes right off.
Is it like other epoxies with repeated exposure, you can gain a allergic reaction?
I'm probably sure. I've never had any allergic reactions. I'm not very sensitive to stuff, even coco bolo. A lot of people have allergic reactions to coco bolo, and I did wear a face mask, but I didn't wear gloves or anything, and I didn't have an issue. So a lot of things that some people have sensitivities to, I don't. So like I said, wearing gloves would probably be best, and especially during curing, wear a face mask or just don't hover over it, because you will, it does put off like a fume. It doesn't kind of has a smell. It's like a sweet chemical smell, but it's not something that's going to permeate my room or my house. You smell it even more so whenever you're when you're curing. So I'm
That's
just going
interesting, Kim, because all the time I was doing those two pens, I never saw the smoke and I never smelled anything, but I did have a mask on.
Yeah.
I always wear it, but
my experience is the thicker, the more it's kind of like with regular resin. The more you mix in one container, the more the exothermic reaction, it actually speeds up the cure time because it's making it hotter faster. And it's kind of like this. When I do flat pieces like this, I don't really have that much of a fume or a smoke. But when I do the molds, and they're only, they're about that, the molds are very, very small. When I fill the molds, I can see, because there's more resin in that mold, it does get hot and it does have a little bit of fume. But like I said, it's better to know that that's a possibility and just protect yourself.
I don't care.
Hey, excuse me.
Okay, Kim is demonstrating an epoxy with the UV light
I made a mess on my desk.
that was discussed earlier this evening, and jumped right into it and did a little demonstration for us. She just poured the epoxy, put some beads into a piece that she turned a while back, and now she's going to turn on this UV light that will cure it this product is soft and pliable right now.
Yes, and it will stay that way until you put it under the lamp. So if you get it on something and you leave it for a day, you'll come back and it'll still be sticky.
Wow.
It only cures with the light, which is kind of convenient because then, you know, like you said, your working time is like until, you know, forever. And this has a tip on it, which I pulled off the whole thing, but it has a tip. So you can pour it in. And I think they also come, I'm making a mess. It also comes with a tip, sort of like super glue does, where it makes this skinnier and longer.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you have a little more detailed work or what have you to use it with. I just don't have all that anymore because I never used it. And see, I can wipe it down. Obviously, if I wanted this off here, I would use denatured alcohol, or regular alcohol works just fine too. I just quickly grabbed this. And then I'm just gonna set the light over top of it. I think this one it starts out running for 2 minutes. And then I'll push it again to make sure. I mean, it doesn't hurt to run the light longer than what it says, because you might have some soft areas where the light couldn't, you know, get to very well. So it doesn't hurt it to overexpose it to UV. I don't think there's such a thing with this resin. Just make sure that these bottles come dark for a reason, so the UV light doesn't get in there. But if you have anything that you don't want to cure yet, make sure you get it away from the light, because anything that it's on and it's exposed, it'll cure.
Hey, Kim.
Yes,
I
sir.
saw a demonstration not long ago with this stuff, and the guy was saying that there is different UV wavelengths. Some resins go at one wavelength and other resins do it another wavelength. Have you seen any of that?
I would say that those flashlight UV flashlights, I've seen on like craft shows and stuff them using them. I think they're stronger. And this one, you know, this is a USB, plugs into a USB. So I don't know like the technical, you know, end of that, but I'm sure you can find out when purchasing the resin what, you know, UV light works best. I mean, I've never had a problem with, you know, with this particular UV light that I put in there. And you may have to run it longer.
I like the way that it's laid out flat. I mean, look at how it puddled out.
It reminds me of a spaceship coming to.
Y'all scaring me again. Come on.
Kim, I got one of those lights, and I also have a little flashlight, and they both work equally well.
They work really well. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't have enough experience in that as far as that goes. I've always just used.
From what I read, it has to do with wattage more than anything. Some of the real cheap lights are low watts, and it doesn't cure it very well.
I know this is hard to see because I don't have very good light over here, and my camera's not that great. But it is hard as a rock. It's in there, and I also use it. I may have used it on this for a finish. So I take a brush and I brush it on really, really, really thin, and then put the UV light on there to cure it. This one may or may not be. This little piece in the center here is all UV resin. I put it in a mold. So for smaller pieces, it is a very expensive resin to use, but it has really good uses when, you know, needing like those pens. You know, he doesn't want to do the whole, and that's perfect because you can do multiple things. You can put pictures on your tubes and then just coat them that way, you know, and so it has really good use, but it is quite expensive. In this resin, the reason why I say it's not very good because when even brand new, it still has a stick to it. So I could run alcohol over it to get rid of that like sticky tacky that's left behind. And sometimes it'll take it away and sometimes it won't, but that's just this resin does that. And I've had a lot of people say that this particular brand tends to kind of stay sticky. And that was, you know, so that's why I say that this one isn't the greatest one. The one I put in the chat would would be better. It doesn't stay sticky at all. It hardens and it's done. So that's that.
And when you say expensive, what do you mean?
Well, for this size bottle, which is how many grams is this? It's a 200-gram bottle. I think it was the last time I checked. What was it, Billy?
Close to $30.
Yeah, close to $30. I think right now that particular link that I put up there has a coupon for percentage off. I can't remember. So this wouldn't be something that you would want to do, like obviously bigger molds, but like small holes in cracks in wood. Like say you don't want to have to, I've used it to fill bug holes so that way I could fill all the bug holes in one day instead of, filling small pieces at a time. And so this works really well in filling bug holes, cracks, whatever else, and hardens it right away. So even if you're on a slope on your wood turning project, you can drip this on there, allow it to, seep down into where you want it to go, and then put the light on it and it stops it in its tracks and hardens it right away. So that it's such a saver when it comes to difficult fillings when you're filling. So yeah, it has a lot of
Interesting
uses.
concept. Thank you, Kim.
You're very welcome.
I'll jump right in there and do a demonstration for us and share stuff with us. Earlier, I asked a question.